Hello everyone, welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. Betty, we're in Capernaum on the north end of the Sea of Galilee, and we're going to go into this flying saucer. No, it's not really not a flying saucer. This is actually what this is. It's a church that is built over the house of the mother-in-law of St. Peter. And I remember the first few trips that we made here. We were here before this church was built, but now the church is built, and as we can see, we can look down into the ruins there, or the excavation of where the house of St. Peter's mother-in-law was.
What was their name? Trivia question.
What was her name? You got me. I don't remember.
It doesn't say it. I just thought you'd probably make up something so you'd have an answer for me.
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm not particularly in love with this church because I don't think that they should have built this over this ruin. However, that's just my own particular.
But it suits the purpose, though, Marv. You really do get to see the excavations. As you look at it from a distance, though, it looks like some kind of a steel structure that's from the year 2000, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
So it suits our times.
It does suit our times. But there are more excavations here, as we can see. And since I've been here last, a lot more has been dug up, and is very interesting. I will say, though, on the inside of the church, these carvings were very, very nice, and I thought they were quite beautiful. So I wanted to get pictures of all of these, and I guess a lot of people look at churches the way that they're built today and say, yeah, this is really nice, or no, I don't like the modern, I would rather go back to the traditional, I like this. And so I guess it's a thing of everyone's own particular taste, don't you think so?
Yeah, to each his own. I kind of like traditional stuff myself, but I love these. Well, these carvings are traditional. They're not modern at all, and they add to the real graciousness of the church. It takes away from the stark reality that you see from the structure itself. Yeah, I've been there several times now, and this time, hey, I liked it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think it grows on you, Marv.
Well, maybe it does. I don't
think
know.
so. Well, they had more plantings around and stuff. And
now, here's another new church, too. This little Greek Orthodox church that is kind of off in the distance there at Capernaum. Now, this was not here the last time that I was there.
I think it was always there, but it didn't have the pink ceiling roof.
Oh, is that right? They hadn't painted it yet?
Didn't. It just kind of went into the distance. I think this was done for the millennium, the bright paint.
Well, I think so much of the stuff that we saw was also done for the millennium because of everything was in such good state of repair. But here we can see again more of the little town of Capernaum. Now, this was, of course, a very, very important site, and a lot of people say Capernaum. Well, wow, it's just a little place that was up there on the north end of the Sea of Galilee. But this is actually where the crossroads were, where the caravans would come through, and where a lot of trading was done. So it was a very, very important area, a very, very important town in the time of Jesus.
Sure, it was rich too because they collected tax on everybody that came in. So it was a hustling, bustling place there.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And they're also now they built or they have reconstructed, of course, the synagogue, which we see right here. And this is the second one. Now there was one, the original one that was there. That's actually where Jesus taught. And this is called the White Synagogue, built upon the remains of the synagogue of Jesus, as we see.
I never understood the white. Did you?
No. Maybe because of the color of the stone.
The marble that's not marble, is it?
I think it's more of a sandstone.
Yeah.
But there's some beautiful carvings, of course, as we can see here too on these capitals, and they've done a beautiful job. The first time that we went there, I remember, which was several years ago. They wouldn't even let me take a camera inside, and the Franciscans were doing I think there was a Franciscan from France who was doing most of the excavations here, and of course he did a monumental job. But now we see so much of this is done, excuse me, and so much of it is in its completeness, as we see right here, and it's just amazing. That they could put all of this together, because all of these ruins were just spread all over the place, It amazes me how archaeologists can do this.
Look at the carvings there. But Marv, this has taken, many, 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 many years. All of this just didn't happen overnight. And due to the Franciscans, we wouldn't have it today if they hadn't started all of this work that's taking place here now. And now when you go into this synagogue, you can feel the presence of Jesus there not in the structure itself, but this was where he sat. This was where he did his readings. And this is when he proclaimed, I am here. You know, when after he got through the reading from Isaiah, I believe it was Isaiah telling about what was coming, and he said, and I am it, or words to that effect. And he was sort of introducing himself.
And the carvings here that we are going to take a look at, as we see here, one of the things that was mentioned to us, and that kind of brought home, is that a lot of people think that the Star of David was the thing that was the sort of the sign of Judaism, but it was not. It was actually the menorah, or the candle holder that holds 7 candles, and that was the sign of Judaism at that time. Star of David evidently did come along, you know, a little bit later on, and of course a lot of people would just naturally think that, because on the Israeli flag, of course, you see the Star of David. But here's some more carvings that we can see here, and of course we have to remember that the Romans were here at this time, and so some of the carvings and some of the mosaics, of course, displayed some of the things that the Romans had brought in, because they were the rulers, of course, at this particular time. So,
Marv, you've done a good job with this, because the monuments themselves, the stones that we see, are not all placed together. They are sort of a separated thing. But you didn't pick them up, move them like that. I don't mean, but
nope,
you did take them. You're pretty strong, but not quite that strong. But you focused in. Is probably the better word on the things that are of importance with the designs and carvings.
Well, you can see here now. Here's the menorah right here that we can take a look at up right in the top part of the pictures. You see right here.
Now let's explain what a menorah is
it's
again.
A candle holder.
See, it's a branched candle holder that holds 8 candles, 7 candles,
right.
4 on each side, 1 in the middle, and that's to light the others, right? Okay.
That's what I understand. And here we see, I believe, now that was sort of the Ark of the Covenant, the wagon that held it. And here you also see other things too. You see grapes and other fruits, that type of thing that is there. So these carvings were, and to think that these carvings have been out here in the weather all of this time. Now here we see the Star of David that you can see right here. And of course this is what, again, most of us think of, that sort of gives the visual aspect of Judaism. But again, we want to look back up here, and this is the menorah that we see up here. And of course that's used so much in Judaism today.
I have one. I told you that already, though, and I put the candles in it, but I do that like at Christmas time. I have the candles in my, but it's small. I don't light them. It's too hard to find the candles to replace them.
We can see here, we're not very far away from all of the other places that are here. We just took a look there at the Mount of Beatitudes, and would you believe we see some camels?
Well, of course I would believe.
Well,
that's the place of camels, isn't it? I don't know.
Right.
Of course.
And excuse me, but we didn't see many of them out on the road. Now here, I think this is beautiful. This is called the Pigeon Valley, and of course there is a road that goes right on over to Nazareth from there. But what we're going to do is we're going to go and take a boat ride on the lake, and this of course is always very nice, and this is one of the things that you have to do when you make a trip to the Holy Land, right, Betty?
Sure. Now, you know, it's kind of funny. We call it the Sea of Galilee. Most of the time it's referred to as the Sea of Galilee. Then is it not called the Lake of Gennesaret? So
it has several names,
several
actually.
Connotations. So when you hear that we're referring to like the lake, that is the same as the Sea of Galilee that all of you people are familiar with, where Jesus walked on the water, where his boat was when he did his preaching. He sat in the boat and preached up there for the Beatitudes.
You know, Betty, they also found a boat. There's a museum here. We left from a little place where we stayed, actually, the very first time that we visited the Holy Land. We stayed at the kibbutz Gennesar. And at Gennesar is where they found one of the boats from Jesus' time, and they do have that in a museum there. And these boats are sort of fashioned after that boat, so they tried to kind of keep that theme going. But this isn't beautiful. It's tranquil out here.
It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
However, the storms can come up on this lake very fast, and they can be very, very, very treacherous. But today, as we're traveling on the lake, it's absolutely beautiful.
But the only way, you know, you do believe it, because remember when Peter they got caught in a storm and they thought they were going to drown, and they begged Jesus come and save them. So we do know that the storms do happen, and unexpectedly too. But we've not had that ever. Thanks be to God.
Well, you can look now too over on the other side of the lake toward the Golan Heights and back up toward the northern part of where we were earlier in the show. And you can see that these places were very, very close together. Was within walking distance, short time periods there. But as we read about it sometimes in the scriptures, unless you've been there, it's kind of hard to visualize how far one place is from another place. But right now, as we say, things are very, very close together, which we would consider. Of course, we've got modern roads there and new highways, of course, all over.
During the fourth watch of the night, he came toward them, walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. "It is a ghost," they said, and they cried out in fear. At once Jesus spoke to them, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter said to him in reply, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and began to walk on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw how strong the wind was, he became frightened and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?"
It's so nice to have Bishop with us on the trip, Eddie. It was just wonderful, wasn't it?
That was a treat. That was an honor. I felt so privileged that he came along with us. Yes, indeed.
It was great. Now we're going to see if this is the way that fishing was done, and maybe I don't know if it's still done this way or not, but see if
well, they throw the nets out.
They throw the nets out, right? Had a little demonstration to see what if anything was going to be pulled up from the water. But there are a variety of fish that are in the Sea of Galilee. However, I think this day we didn't catch anything. So.
Now, I like what he's wearing, too. Now, that's the dress, isn't it? The attire. Don't you have one of those? What do you call it? A jalabia.
Yeah, I've got
and
several
they're
of them.
so practical.
They are.
They really are. You can wear them as a nightgown, night shirt, whatever, or wear them to tie. They're wonderful. But that's what they wore in those days.
Yeah, and that's what people are wearing today,
Oh,
too.
yes.
Now we're going to go to the River Jordan. Of course, this is a big place where a lot of people are baptized for the first time. A lot of people then will renew their baptismal vows. And a lot of our people are kind of wading around the water a little bit, filling up their water jugs and bringing some water home.
That's Bishop's brother right there, the gentleman with the light blue
Right.
shirt
Bishop had
on.
two of his brothers.
Yes.
There's his
there's
other brother
the other
right
one
there
right
who's
there
a
in
priest.
the end of
Right.
it.
And two of his nephews that were with us on this trip. And so we're going to do the same thing here, too. Bishop is going to have us do our baptismal vows.
Reading from the Gospel of St. Matthew. Jesus, coming from Galilee, appeared before John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John tried to refuse him with the protest, "I should be baptized by you, yet you come to me?" Jesus answered, "Give in for now. We must do this if we would fulfill all of God's demands." So he came directly out of the water. Suddenly the sky opened, and he saw the Spirit of God descend like a dove and hover over him. With that a voice from the heavens said, "This is my beloved Son, my favor rests on him." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Let us reflecting on how we've been so blessed in the day of our baptism truly renew our vows here where the Lord Jesus himself was baptized, reflecting how the Lord again comes to us so that he may continue to work and live in this world, proclaim that good news in and through our lives. Let us truly give ourselves to the Lord Jesus in renewal of these vows. So I ask everyone to please stand, and we remind of those words that were said for us probably by our sponsors when we are little. Do you believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth?
I do.
Do you believe in Jesus Christ, his own divine Son, who died and suffered and died and rose from the dead?
I do.
Do you believe in the Holy Spirit who brings to us the Spirit of God's love?
I do.
Oh God, we give you thanks for renewing our baptismal promises within us. Help us always to live for you, with you, and in you. And we now pray together in the words you have taught us. Our
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Amen. Now I'm going to sprinkle you all with this water from the River Jordan, which reminds us of the day of our baptism, that water is a sign of God's activity throughout the Holy Bible and of his presence in our lives, his loving presence and activity. God bless. That's all. And now, if you like, you may fill up your bottles if you haven't done it yet.
Well, Betty, we renewed our baptismal vows here with the bishop, and now we're going to jump over to the next place over here, where we see probably the Baptists.
I'm sure the Baptists being baptized.
Because
right.
they're going to
submerge.
Submerge.
You said that.
Submerge them. Immerse.
Immerse is the right
yeah,
word to use. Yeah.
So
it's wonderful.
I don't know either if they're Baptists or not. That we probably really shouldn't say that. But anyway, these people were all set up for, again, probably renewing their baptismal vows.
They
as
bring
well.
their gowns. They come prepared for this, and there are many. There's not just Baptists. There's many
sure.
people that come there to renew their vows. My only wish was that when we renewed ours, that it would have renewed all of this, taken away all of the sins that happened between the time we were first baptized and the renewal would have been great.
You don't think it did that?
Oh,
huh?
no, I don't think so.
You don't think
now
it did
look
that?
at that.
Okay.
Now see, that'd be hard on me.
Why?
I mean, to be dunked like that would I think of my hair.
Well, I know
No,
some of the women had little things over their hair
they
there.
did.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, so that was the River Jordan, and that place there was one of the places, of course, where the baptisms do occur. And we're going to head back toward Tiberias right now, and the drive is very nice here. You know, so many times I think we think of this as strictly. What I want to say, in a religious aspect, the Holy Land as such, but we should remember that this is also a recreational area for the people of this area. I mean, you'll see people out here water skiing, you'll see people out, swimming, and with all sorts of things out there, motorboats, whatever it may happen to be. It was not this particular day that we were there, but you see there's areas for picnic and things like that. And a lot of people from the other parts of the Holy Land do come up here because Tiberias is a recreational area.
I lost a lot of my what was the word I want to use? Naivete when I first came here, because I thought I'm always back in the Old Testament, how it looks and how you lived and everything. And so I kind of learned as I went along that, hey, that changes take place there too, Betty, you know.
Yeah, everywhere. That's the whole thing. Here's some of the night scenes, and you can see Tiberias is a pretty big place.
Our hotel was right. Was that our hotel?
No, I'm in the hotel shooting from the hotel balcony.
Hotel,
right?
But we were right down by the water in our
indeed.
hotel. Very, very nice hotel.
We
have good accommodations. They were excellent.
Oh yes, very, very nice. I
Good
cannot complain at all.
locations and where you could get out on your own and do some walking.
Right. And that's always nice. And we did a lot of that at night. There was a lot of music going around there. As I say, it is a recreational place too. Well, the next day we are back in the bus again, and time to go on and visit some other places here in the Holy Land. And you know, Betty, we're going to go up that mountain right there, because that is the Mount of Transfiguration, and the little building that you can see on top is the Church of Transfiguration, and we're going to take a ride up there. Now, I've got to explain this to you, okay? Not to you, Betty, but to people that have never been there.
Go ahead, tell me.
Okay. We get in these taxis, and we're in one right now. I'm sitting in the front seat of it with my camera. And, you know, the first time I did this was a few years ago, and the road was not as good as it is today, as we can see right here. But going up this mountain, and there's only one road, and you go up it and you go down it the same way, and there are these taxis that are lined up because the tour buses come. You load in, you get about 7 people, I think, in these taxis, and then you start up the hill. Well, you think, okay, that's all right, but all of a sudden you're looking around, yeah, you know, and you go, wait a minute, it goes pretty fast. It doesn't look like it right here, but you really do scoot up that hill in a heck of a hurry. And the view from up here, as you can see, because this hill sits out there absolutely by itself. There's nothing else around it. But sometimes these cars are coming down as you're coming up, and vice versa. And most of the people are going, ooh, ah, oh, they're as excited as they can be. Not excited that they're going to the top of the hill, but excited whether or not they're going to make it to the top of the hill or not, you know? And so
now, Marv, wait a minute. Now, let's not scare our people. We're going to have other people go. And, you know, these drivers are such experienced drivers.
Right.
And the only ones going up and coming down are the men who drive these wonderful Mercedes limousines, actually.
Right, yeah.
So they know about the time that one will be coming and one will be going. So it's really safe. But go ahead now, scare them some more.
Well, all right. Now, just you have to admit, the first time that you went up this hill, what did you think?
That was a dirt road, though. They didn't have any of the embankments on the side.
I know. There was anything.
I almost fainted. I never thought we'd make it.
You know, I tell you what, and I hung on for dear life the first time that we went up there. Now, this is kind of a, I don't know, an easy way. I mean, what we're showing right now.
You get back into the church and you say, "Oh, thank you, God."
And here there are a lot of hairpin turns right there, and all of a sudden, bingo, you know, you're running right into another car, almost. But anyway, as I say, the view from up here is worth the drive anyway. But of course, we're going up, and we're going to have Mass up there as well. But it's a beautiful spot.
It's a nice spot.
You can look out forever, it seems like.
And then, Marv, if you realize we're going up by car on this, and this is where Jesus walked.
Yeah.
He walked in the...
Well, I'll tell you what, the first time I went up, I thought,
maybe it would have been easier to walk. Hey, let me out, huh? I want to walk.
Yeah, but anyway, it's kind of a thrill, and it's something that if you've never been there before, you know, you don't know really kind of what to expect, and all of a sudden you get in the they are limousines now, but you said that they were always Mercedes. I don't think
taxis.
I don't think so, because I remember the first time I had a great big camera. I was holding onto that, and I had my feet on the dashboard just so that I wouldn't fall out the door. You know, I mean, I do remember that. I really do remember that. So it was very exciting. Anyway, it is exciting to get up, and then you have to
when
think.
You got down.
You have to think later. Oh my golly, we got to make the trip back down too.
We didn't have those little rocks along the side.
No, there wasn't.
In case you had to hit the sides, you know. If you hit the side, there ain't no sides. You go over.
That's right. You know, and I didn't want to ask whether that had ever happened to anybody.
Oh, I'm sure it never did. They're very, very safe. We're just playing this up a little bit.
Well, Betty, here we are at the top of the mountain, and of course, after that ride up the hill, it's nice to have a little walk, and it is a nice walk, isn't it?
It was, and it was on level ground, so when you didn't have to watch where you walked, and they were all around you were the trees, and then the magnificent church.
It is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And when we went inside, there was a group that was already in there that were having mass, and they were singing, and it was really quite a beautiful thing. But our mass was not held indoors. Actually, our mass was held outdoors.
The Transfiguration, did it take place over there? Did it take place here? Did it take place over there? No one knows, okay? So this is beautiful that we're outside, because definitely Transfiguration did not take place within a church, but we're more out like in the open. And it's good for us to be here, as Peter said. How wonderful and beautiful as we reflect on that glory that awaits us in following the Lord Jesus in his journey.
And of course, I think no matter where you have Mass on top of this mountain, and there were other Masses that were going on in other places as well, there are lots and lots of tourists that were up there. It is beautiful, and it's a great feeling up there, isn't it, Betty?
Yeah, I've never been outside before. This was one of my first times. But now you know who that is. This is, remember the story where they built the 3 booths? Let us build 3 booths.
That's what he wanted to do,
and that was Moses. Then there was one for Elijah. Yeah, and then
one
God.
for
It was
Jesus.
a magnificent God, and all in the domed. And, well, I like you first showed Moses. Why didn't you show the rest of them? Shame on you.
Who?
You. Why didn't you take the
Because we didn't have enough time. We'll do it next time. We'll do it next time. Another time and another show. Speaking about another time, we're going to have another time back in the Holy Land in the year 2006. Right, Betty?
We sure are. I've been really looking forward to doing this, Marv. The times were just not conducive to going for a while, but now everything is opened up, and I know that they're going to really welcome us with open arms, especially,
yes.
The poor little merchants that have suffered from this.
Well, we have been to the Holy Land many, many times in the past. And I know, Betty, you've been there more times than I have. But every time that we go back, we keep discovering new things, because there is so much to see, so much to experience in the Holy Land. And if you've never been there before, I'm sure that you're going to want to go with us in 2006, because we're going to have a fantastic, and I mean a fantastic trip, because it's been so long since we've been there, and we're so enthusiastic about it. So if you really want to go with us, all you got to do is just give Betty a call, right, Betty?
Well, I hope so.
And your number
559.
is?
I was beating you to the punch. I was eager. 559-488-7443.
So give Betty a call, and she'll give you more information on our trip to the Holy Land in the year 2006. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.